Thank you so much. Well, welcome and thank you for joining us for the December CPS Coordinators Forum. I'm Mandy Seataller. I'm the Community Engagement Representative of the National Child Passenger Safety Board, and I'm the statewide CPS Coordinator for Alaska. It's my pleasure to serve as your moderator for today. And just as a reminder, if you want to put your name and where you're from in the chat box, and if you'd like to share anything about your program that you're excited about or proud of, we'd sure love to hear it. Next slide. So as a quick reminder, attendees are requested not to participate in this webinar if you are operating a motor vehicle. It will be posted to the CPS board website within about 48 hours, and you can check it out there, cpsboard.org/state-coordinators/forum. And again, that happens in about 2 days. So please join me in welcoming Daniella Brown, the child restraint manufacturer, and Britney Lombard, the CPS advocate representative on the National Child Passenger Safety Board. I'll turn it over to you guys and let you introduce yourselves. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Britney Lombard. As Mandy mentioned, I am the CPS advocate on the National Child Passenger Safety Board, and I manage an injury prevention program at Children's Hospital, Colorado, and I'll pass it over to Daniella.
Thank you, Brittany. My name is Daniella Brown. I am the car seat manufacturer representative on the board, and I'm actually also the director of consumer advocacy for car seats at Up a Baby. Thanks for having us today. I'm going to hand it off to Brittany, who's going to start with our presentation.
If the slide will advance, I will do that. So sorry. There we go. So we wanted to start today by talking about why digital outreach can be so important for reaching families today. And then we wanted to share some resources, support, and tools that exist in our field. And finally, some tips for caregivers to leverage technology in this work. So, a lot of us are very accustomed to doing this work in person. We know the benefits of being right there with a family to discuss safety and go over the details. But more and more parents are using social media and digital resources to learn about safety, to learn about parenting. And so it's really important for us to make sure we are in the spaces where families are. So I wanted to share this study from Northwestern University. They actually grouped parents into what they call media light parents, media moderate, and media centric parents. And media light parents made up about a quarter of the population. And those families are using screen time just under 2 hours daily. Then we have the vast majority of parents, almost half of all parents, that they grouped as media moderate. And those families are using screen time almost 5 hours a day. And then we have the last quarter of parents, media centric, and they're actually using screen time just over 11 hours a day on average. So that is almost every waking moment of their day that they are relying on digital resources and technology for all of the information. So it's really important for us to be where families are. Families clearly are using online time and screen time at a higher rate than ever. If your program is using social media, I'm sure you know that social media platforms can range significantly by age. I thought this chart was really eye-opening because, as you can see, regardless of age, YouTube is pretty much almost entirely the top category across the board. So if you're not using YouTube or referring families to YouTube, you might want to consider doing that. Facebook comes in at a close second, especially for the sort of caregiver age folks here. And you can kind of see where you should invest your time and resources in social media. And when we are doing this work, it's important to know we don't actually have to create all of these digital resources because there is a lot that already exists that's available to us. So we wanted to share kind of what those resources look like. So we're going to list some of the website resources that are in our industry available right now. Hopefully all of these look familiar to you and you have been to their websites. That said, there is so much information on these websites that we wanted to just do an overview of what you can find on them. So starting with safekids.org. This is not only a great website for technicians, but also for caregivers, and they have the information organized well between what is supporting technicians and what's available for caregivers. So families can find out where a car seat check event is. They can connect with their local Safe Kids coalitions. Um, they have a great amount of car seat safety tips in over a dozen languages. So I know at our Fit Station, we have these printed out and ready to go in case a family needs a printed resource in a different language. These are great to use. Lots of information, recalls, and then we have the ultimate car seat guide. If you haven't checked it out, it's really cool for caregivers because they can actually plug in the age and size of their child and they'll get stage specific tips for car seat safety for their children. So lots of good resources to see there. The next resource is Safety Connection, and this is on the carseateducation.org portal. And some of these resources are fairly new. So if you haven't had a chance to look at them yet, you definitely should. They do have a place where families can go where they can sign up for a car seat check. But even more exciting, I think, is that they are now offering instructor observed seat checks for recertification. This is huge. My hospital has a network of over 50 technicians and not a lot of instructors. So that's a lot of time that we spend connecting with all of those techs for seat check sign-offs. It's so nice to give them an alternative for scheduling those. This is what the carseateducation.org website looks like. Hopefully you know that this is where we can find pre-recorded webinars for our own CEU requirements, but there are also a lot of caregiver and advocate courses on there that are pretty new and exciting. So again, if you haven't checked those out, if you haven't gone through them, it's really good to see what caregivers can learn. They don't take a long time to complete for you. And if you go to the safety connection link right at the top there, this is what you'll see. So it's divided among different audiences. So the CPST section is where you can sign up for instructor observed seat check sign-offs. For caregivers, again, they can do that virtual seat check with a CPST right there. And then there's a section for kind of communities and organizations. And they have a lot of how-to guides for how to use the site. This is kind of what you can find there. And there's a group administrator option. So you can leverage these advocate courses for a lot of different industries, and you can administrate a group and you can track completions of those courses, which is really nice. I'm going to hand it over to Daniella.
All right. Thank you so much, Brittany. As Brittany mentioned, this is just the tip of the iceberg kind of thing because and I've even noticed, I'm sure Brittany did as well, when we started diving into each one of these, we kept finding more fun stuff. And I say fun stuff because just all around car seat technician and instructor support and program support. One of the obvious ones here is the NHTSA.gov. So obviously going here, and then if you go to equipment, and then to car seats and booster seats, there is a boatload of information. So you can break it down and look at all the different types of car seats that are available, and it's more education. So it's for the caregiver, letting them know what is a rear facing only seat, what's a convertible. There is also that really nice tool that they have that's visual that allows you to understand when to transition and the overlap there. There is also the car seat finder, ease of use ratings. There's car seat installation tips, vehicle and car seat terminology. So it breaks it down. So if you need some help, perhaps as a technician or instructor on, looking at tools in order to properly explain that, it's a great resource, as well as even for caregivers to go to. How to find a car seat inspection is another big one, as well as how to find their tool, how to choose the right seat. And it goes through, it's similar to the Safe Kids one, where you would put your child's age, weight, and height, and it helps you make decisions from there. There's also registration, and you can sign up for recalls as well. So a lot of information there on our government site. There's also the CPS board, which is, where we are, why we're all here today supporting this. But this is a great resource for you. So if you are to go to training specifically, this is what you get on the right-hand side. Now there's a wealth of information as you scroll further down. So there is car seat basics and car seat basics for law enforcement as well as children in hot cars. And those bring you directly to the learning portal that Brittany just went over. There's links to Safe Kids to connect to a hybrid class, a regular technician class, as well as renewal. There is also links to get to the CPS learning portal about CEUs and community education. There's enrichment trainings on instructor development, the school bus national training that's available, as well as safe travel for all children, transporting children with special healthcare needs. There's a curriculum feedback form. So there's a lot of information here on this one. Now, this is just a continuation looking at webinars. And then with the webinars, this is, you can go through, as you can see here, you can register for a webinar right here. It also gives you a little bit of detail on the webinar and we just understanding if it's worthwhile for you to join. There is community education options, how to hybrid for instructors, where those signups are. So there's teaching resources, there's scheduling tips, and there's also the NDCF orientation and where to connect with those dates that are available through a webinar. We can't forget our resources tab, and all of these, there is a ton of information here, depending on what resources you're looking for, from airplanes and information on that, to CPS work and CPS week information, recall lists, social media library. So this is a great tool to help support the CPS community and the outreach. Safe Ride News that we all love, simply because of that handy latch manual and all the time and the effort that's put into it. There is a ton of time and effort that has also been put into this website. So simply going here to saferidenews.com, you go to Latch and there's quizzes available. There is videos, information. There's also a connection to school bus safety. If that is something that you deal with in your program, you can go to any one of these resources to get more information. Under CEUs, there's CEUs that you can go to, as well as quizzes. So something, a different option, if this is, will help support your program and maybe the learnings that you'd like to gain. And then plenty of resources. All of these, I know that we have one on here as a car seat manufacturer, the Mesa, and that's on an installation tip. So there's a lot of things you can go to just in the Safe Ride News website. Here's some more. So resources for technicians with virtual car seat checks. So there's guidances, there's an email template as well as a pre-check template. There's a latch gallery. So we're always looking for photos of anything CPS related. NHTSA has one, Safe Ride News has one, the board has one. So I always find the galleries quite helpful, especially when we're developing presentations like this, for example, or even in some kind of print material that is going out to caregivers. Safe Ride News also houses the Manufacturers Alliance for Child Passenger Safety, which is the MACPS. So if you just scroll down all the way to the bottom and then the lower right-hand corner, if you just hover your mouse over here and just click, it's a hyperlink that brings you to the MACPS page. Now on this page, we have information about the program as well as harmonized statements, and the harmonized statements are always something that are useful for technicians or instructors to go to in the field if they're trying to understand if there is a consistent message across the board regarding something. For example, like gate checking, there might be car seats and coats. There may be installing 3 across. So those are just a few of them. There is also our calendar of events for the year. So if you're planning some kind of conference or CEU day, you might want to check that out to help you determine whether or not it works with your calendar as well as the manufacturers if you'd like to have them come and support. There is a page to link to all of us, as well as a list of all of our contact information, which I think is really handy to even have at car seat checks if you just need to do a quick reach out to get some information on something. Sorry, I'm just waiting for it to advance. It doesn't want to advance. Oh, Kendra's going to take over. Here we are talking about digital resources and we're having a technical difficulty. Thank you. All right. So customer service is always like a great resource for car seat and vehicle manufacturers to get the information firsthand. A lot of the websites, they have instruction manuals, videos on usage. There's even, there's direct sales. So you can go and make your purchase directly on the website, as well as you can narrow down and go through a selection process on the vehicle side as well as the car seat side. There's education material, connection for video chats, virtual car seat checks, messaging. So that is always a great resource for technicians and instructors, as well as for caregivers. Let's see if I can, oh, yay. Okay, it worked. And then I'm sure everyone's familiar with Safety Belt Safe, that is based out of California. So they do offer a lot of print material resources, but there are also some digital resources. Here, for example, they have in the little image, these are downloads of manuals that might be useful for a CPS class or for a car seat check. Okay, moving on to digital support, and I'm going to hand it off. Oh, wait, I think I do the next one, right? Or is this Britney? This is Britney. I'm going to stop control.
I had to see what was next. Okay, hopefully I have control here, maybe. So hopefully we all know and love the National Digital Car Seat Check Form at carseatcheckform.org. If you're using the website as an organization, you are hopefully familiar with the immense level of data that you can get by using this. I am getting ready to write all of my end of the year grant reports, and it has been super helpful in collecting data on misuse rates and specifically what types of misuses that we're seeing. So this is a really great way to log your car seat checks, and I will tell you a little bit more about how we use it in a later slide when we talk about the app. Going back to the family and advocate trainings on the car seat education portal that you can find, people are using these in such creative ways. I've been really excited to hear about the ways some programs are using them. Some are using them for car seat distribution. And like I said, you can become a group administrator and you can track completions. So this is our big goal in my program for 2024 is to use the car seat basics module to help with our car seat distribution program, which will hopefully free up a lot of time for our team to work on other important programming. So really excited about that. You can use it as an onboarding training for a law enforcement agency or a hospital. And then we've also heard of DHS programs that are using it to train their team members who are often transporting kids and don't necessarily always have the information to be able to properly install those car seats. So really great resources there, and I'm sure more to come. The Hot Cars, I don't know what just happened. Hot Cars is available in Spanish as well. And I just got an access error, so let me See if it will still let me advance slides. Looking like a no-go. Kendra, are you able to advance slides at the moment?
I was not, so I am stop sharing and then I'll reshare.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. As far as virtual car seat checks, that is one great point for digital support. I know that during COVID, a lot of us had to head in that direction, just to support the industry as a whole. This was something that I did from my home in my basement in my child's playroom. But one of the things that I think was so great about this really did empower caregivers to do the work themselves with guidance. It wasn't something that was able to happen right away for me. I know I had to learn the proper way to communicate where I couldn't use my hands. So there was a learning curve, but overall, I fell in love with doing car seat checks this way. I was able to reach a broader area of caregivers. So nationwide, I was, and even worldwide, I worked with people in the Bahamas, in Canada, in Germany. It was wonderful that way. I felt like it was it was easier for the parents because the car seat check was brought to them at their convenience. It was great also because digitally was able to use, at the more towards the end in when the NDCF came out, is when I started to utilize this form as well. So supporting this program and the car seat check program virtually, and then feeding my national digital check form data into the national database. I also had to, review the Safe Kids guidelines for virtual car seat checks as well. But I don't know, overall, it was a really positive experience for me. Again, getting over the hump of that change was a little intimidating, but once I was, it was very, very much worthwhile. Okay, I'm trying to advance. Let's see how this goes. Yay. Okay. As far as the tools that I use for this level of digital support, I did have a ring light. In my ring light, I was using FaceTime on my work phone. That's an Apple device, as well as I was using my laptop with Zoom. So my ring light had a little stand for my digital phone, as well as I had a little chair nearby that would hold my computer if I was using Zoom. And then I was very lucky to get a demo seat. I had dolls, the video meeting platform I already reviewed, the vehicle seat. So in some cases, I was going outside to explain things a little more, but I was able to take everything because it was mobile with me. And then I had my trusted latch manual with me to help maneuver and understand the vehicles better. See if we're going to advance. Yay. Okay, so now let's talk about the digital tools. This one's pretty exciting because I think the more that I dove into this with Britney, we really discovered a lot of little apps and stuff that we probably may not have, had the time to look at and understand and see how it's useful for programs. There we go. So the National Digital Check Form, and Brittany mentioned we were going to be coming back to this and talking about the app some more. So as a manufacturer, why do I think that this is a great tool? Because it drives change. We really do investigate the misuse, and these are the things that pop up for misuse that are evaluated. We can look at the vehicle information, so the make, model, and year and location for us, where our customers are installing the car seats, what type of install, if they're using seatbelt, if they're using the lower anchors. So that helps us understand, for example, on the Mesa, if you're not familiar with it, we have auto retracting latch connectors on there. So with us, we put all of this effort into this technology to really develop something for ease of use. And we were able to look at the data and see if it supported that level of that part of the installation method. And it really did. So that was great. We have a tether that is a multi-directional tether. It goes rear facing and forward facing. So and we made it bright and yellow. So that's making us look at, okay, is this feature being used? We also look at the areas of growth, so support across the country. It gives us the data in a map format too, so we can understand where our major markets are. Are they making sense relative to our sales? Are there areas that we need to grow and we need to reach? And I just mentioned specifics on features, but sorry, I'm just trying to advance. Okay, it's working, it's just slow. And this is just a little snapshot of what I see when I look at my dashboard. This is the vehicle information. So here on the Uppa Baby products, I'm able to see what vehicle, make, model, and year that our customers are using. So it helps us narrow down the vehicles so we can go back and look at our top 20 vehicles when we're doing development and installation. So I just thought this was neat and wanted to share some information on the back end of what we see from all of the data that we all put into the form nationally. I'm going to hand it off to Britney.
Okay, so I also wanted to share how we use the NDCF as our hospital program. We love that it's HIPAA compliant because our risk team was really on board with using it due to that. And then we don't have great internet connectivity when we step out to where we do our car seat checks. So you can actually just pop your device into airplane mode, fill out the entire seat check form, and then wait to submit it until you're back and connected to the internet. So that's really great. One thing that we needed was, because the app is HIPAA compliant, once you submit your seat check form, it disconnects it from the personal information. So on our end, we needed a way in our electronic medical record to be able to go back and reference that seat check form if necessary. So we actually built a car seat and booster seat assessment form in our EMR, and we put a little line on there for NDCF number, so that once we have that 6-digit number that's assigned to that patient record, we can pop it into their EMR, and that allows us to connect back to their car seat check form if we need it. And then, like I mentioned, I'm getting ready to write all those end of the year grant reports, and it's so easy to go in and see the data and see exactly how many car seats we distributed, how many misuses there were, and the level of misuse. And it gives us a really good way to focus our program for the next year, because we can see, is there a certain age range where the misuse is higher? Is there a certain area or population that we're not hitting? So it's been really great for our program. Oops, hopefully it will let me advance. Let's try again. Maybe, oh, there we go. So if you don't have a little CPST folder on your device, on your phone or tablet, you may after this. I have a little folder, and the Safer Car app is one that I really like. It's very cool, not only for technicians, but also for caregivers, because it has this virtual garage where you can save not only the vehicle you have, you can also add your VIN number, but you can also save the model of car seats that you have in this virtual garage, and it will let you know about recalls. And with the vehicle, if you add your VIN, it will tell you about only unrepaired recalls. It doesn't have that same level of capability for car seats, so it is important that families know with the car seat, it's not checking their manufacture date, it's just checking the model, but it can give them sort of that beginning information that they need to know if there might be a recall on their car or car seat. And the next one, there we go, is the Check to Protect website. And this is a really great tool to show caregivers They can actually just take a picture of their license plate and it will show any open recalls. So when you're doing a car seat check, after they've filled out they've signed their waiver and you're starting to look at misuses, you can give them this as a job to do. Hey, hop on your phone, go to checktoprotect.org and take a picture of your license plate. That way, you know if you have any recalls that need to be fixed. And it's a great way to kind of open that conversation and empower them to use resources that are available to them. Sorry for the delay on the advancing here. Okay, this was a new one for me that I found actually looking for resources for this webinar, which is really cool. This is mycardoeswhat.org. It's a National Safety Council resource, and this is great for caregivers that may have safety features in their car that they don't know about. So it actually has a link to all vehicle manufacturers and shares manuals on their vehicle manufacturer websites, so it'll link you to that. And then it has endless amounts of these little icons that talk about all of the different safety features that exist in vehicles and a little overview of what that safety feature is for. So this could be a really cool resource for caregivers to learn about their car and what their car does. This next one is a really simple app, might be good, especially in hotter areas. It's called Heat Index. It's by OSHA, and basically it'll calculate the temperature and the humidity based on your location. So it works with your GPS, and then it'll tell you what temperature it feels like. So even though this isn't directly related to what the temperature would be in a hot car, it can start that conversation at a seat check event. Pediatric growth charts is one of my personal favorites that I have in my little CPST folder on my phone. It is also really great for caregivers because you can actually save your children's stats in the app. So you can upload a picture, you tell it the age, and then at every appointment, when you get that weight and height, you can plug it right into this calculator and it'll tell you your child's percentiles and then it'll save it for you. So you can watch your child's growth chart. I use it at seat checks to be able to help caregivers gauge if their child might be growing out of their seat soon, or if they're looking to buy a new seat and they don't know what percentile their child is in, you can find that really easily as well. So I use it for my own kids. I have their growth charts all saved in it, and then I use it at seat check events as well. Finally, wanted to share Google Translate as a resource, and there are tons of translation apps that exist. And I like Google because it has a wider variety of languages. We prefer at our seat checks to be able to provide either an in-person or a live virtual interpreter, but that is not always an option for everyone. And we need to work with the resources we have. So if this is the resource that you have in your pocket, it's definitely better than nothing. And the other reason that I like Google Translate is that it has this little speaker button. So once you type in what you'd like it to say, you can translate it and then hit speaker and it'll actually speak that sentence out loud for you. So that's kind of a nice resource. And Danielle's going to share the rest.
Okay, thank you, Brittany. These are just, may have gone forward just one too many here. There we go. Thanks, Kendra. I think it's you, but thank you. So these are just some of the car seat manufacturer apps that are available. You'll notice that with Cybex, Evenflow, and Duna, it's based on their sensor safe or sense alert features that they have in their car seats. Some of the others that are listed, you can find installation and support videos, tips and tricks, car seat installation, registration. You can also connect to a live chat with someone from their customer experience department. So there's, a lot of information. These are developing also rapidly and continually changing, much like any other app would. So, and then we can't forget the next slide is our car seat manufacturer websites. There, almost. There we go. And this is everything is moving virtual, which is the point of this presentation. So all the manufacturers that are listed here, they offer live chat. There's virtual car seat checks as outlined here, as well as video chat. So I do think, again, going back to one of the positive things about COVID, and that has been just how we as an industry have been able to kind of do a 180 and try new things. So I give all of us a lot of kudos and appreciation for all the hard work. All of us, and I'm not including not just Brittany and I'm talking like all of everyone in our industry and how we've been able to maneuver a virtual world. So if we move forward here, just trying. Okay, so now we're looking at tools. As far as scheduling tools, these are two scheduling tools that I use quite often. When we do car seat checks, we use Calendly. We did this virtually. All of our hub locations use this. I'm not sure about what the other manufacturers use, but this has a free option as well as an option starting at $12 up per month. So depending on the features that you need, you obviously would pay more, but there is a free option where you can do a one-on-one virtual appointment. You can ask questions. You're limited on the number of questions you can ask in the free option, but you can find out, what's your car's make and model and year, how many children do you have, their age, weight, and height, what kind of car seat are you bringing in with you? So that kind of information. And it's nice because you can also, all of that initial data that you create, you can download that in an Excel sheet and use that to, I guess, support your programs as well. Sign Up Genius is another great option that has different levels from free to $8 per month upward. And that is a scheduling tool as well, where you can have the contact information, the phone, the email. You can reach out to them through email. You can ask some questions. And obviously, the more you pay, the more options you have to ask questions. You can collect money. You can have more people join. So yeah, and I'm going to hand it off to Brittany, who's going to explain another new one that I hadn't heard of. So.
Hopefully it will let me advance here. I'm not sure. Get a drum roll, a moment of build up for this exciting new tool. So RedCap is what we use at the hospital. RedCap is available to organizations. It's not available for personal use, but we use it as a data collection tool. It does meet HIPAA compliance standards. And the great thing about this is we're able to really easily build a survey on our end, and we're able to easily pull results. And then it offers us branching logic options. So if you say yes to this question, you go to option number 7. If you say no, you go to question 12. So this is what we do to collect information before a car seat check, or for families that might need an adaptive car seat consultation. Gives them us a good idea of what car seat they're coming in with and what that patient's needs might be. So it's been really helpful. And then next, we wanted to talk about a few ways that we've thought of to help caregivers leverage the technology in their hands. And we would love to hear if you all have some too. So here's the ones that kind of resonated for us. Often you'll come across a caregiver that feels like they're getting so much information at this car seat check, they're not going to remember it. I will often invite them to record portions of it. Once we figure out what install works, I'm happy to do a little 5-minute demo of that install for them that they can record so that they can reference that back. I will also often, especially if expiration is coming up soon-ish on their car seat or maybe before their child's going to outgrow it, I will help them put a calendar reminder in their calendar app, maybe for a month before the car seat expires. Hey, your car seat's going to expire on this date. Go buy yourself a new one. And I used this trick with my sister, and her car seat expired in September, and she gave me a call and she said, all right, I need help. I'm ready for that next car seat because mine's about to expire. She just wouldn't have remembered otherwise. So that can be really helpful. If families are taking apart their seat to wash, or they're removing that cover, they can take photos or videos of how it looks along the way. That way, when they go back to put the cover back on, they remember where all those little elastic loops go and what order to put everything on. And then also, I'll often remind them that their manufacturer might have an app, or if they can register their seat online on the website. For some manufacturers, they'll even offer an extended warranty if you register online. So there's a little bit of added incentive there as well. And those are the tips we have for today. We, again, would love any questions, or if you have any ideas of how you're using these digital resources, we would love to have those shared as well.
So our group is a little smaller today, and it looks like Denise has your hand up. If you want to come off mute, you can ask your question directly, Denise.
Hi, everybody. I just listening to all this, it made me remember a few months ago, for my own program, it just seems like there's so many awesome resources now available. And it was kind of starting to add up to the amount of time the techs had to spend. Like, we really realized how important it was to check to protect. And we really wanted everybody to know about car seat basics, e-learning, and all these things. But asking them to make sure they mentioned it or do that during a checkup was getting to be hard. So I was just going to mention I developed a sheet, because sometimes people have to wait a few minutes before a tech comes up. So we developed a sheet that everybody gets at the beginning, and we developed QR codes for those things so that they could start working on that themselves. They can check their own car for those recalls, and they can take the sheet with them later so they can go tell their friends to go check for the e-learning for car seat basics and the hot cars, as well as providing them with a way to get in touch with us later on when their child has gone to another stage so that they can find another checkup. So I just thought I'd mention that QR codes are helpful too.
I love that, Denise. I think too at car seat checks, sometimes, there is that lull time when you're doing all of your recording. And that's something great to do to engage the caregiver and keep them busy while you're doing that portion of your car seat check. I love that.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling so inspired. I took all kinds of notes like, oh, I want to do that. I know we should do that at our checks. These were really, really amazing tips.
Yeah, I already downloaded 2 apps during this presentation.
I did too.
Also, I asked Britney about Epic because it just seems like everybody's on Epic by now. I mean, or going to be, or I don't know. And whenever you can get this into the electronic medical record, somehow it always, I don't work in a hospital, but from the observations I have with other people, that makes it so much easier for you folks that do, right? So having a lot of people using the same system means we can help each other a lot with that, right? And get those tips from you on how to do that.
Yeah, and building our Epic spreadsheet was a task in its own, because there's so many complications with who can access it and how you reference it back and all of that. But we have a great Epic team that helped us build it. It also is really easy, again, for us to pull at the end of the year. And our injury prevention team is using NDCF because we're doing the full car seat checks. But our techs on the unit are often not doing that, but they're at least using the spreadsheet in Epic so that we have a record of that education that happened.
Do we have any more questions? Why don't we hit the last couple of slides, and then if you guys don't mind hanging around for a little bit, we'll see if anybody wants to stick around and ask a couple of questions. So we'd like to invite you to our upcoming CPS Coordinators Forums in January and February. All the hats we wear and the bipartisan infrastructure law, a bill workshop. I think it's going to apply to all of us and really be a big help. So please mark your calendars and watch for those training dates coming up. We also have 2 new webinars coming, December 12th and January 16th. Julie Mansfield and Gretchen Baker from Ohio State University will share their recent findings on booster seats and belt fits. And then in January, Sarah Haverstick from Good Baby International will provide an update on UN car seat regulations and what the U.S. technician needs to know. Visit cpsboard.org/webinars to register or scan the QR code on your screen. We are loving those QR codes. Thank you so much. So thank you for being here today. Kendra, we can stop the recording and maybe stop sharing, but we can hang out for a little bit and talk and answer more questions, or if you have a great resource